Hello Daystaters and YouTubers, welcome to my first video log. Daystate have asked me to do a short video as part of my participation in the Air Gunner Support Pack, or ASP as it's known, about how I'm getting on during these extraordinary times with the pandemic virus on the loose, everything closed, people being told to stay at home for their own safety, and the police enforcing the rules. I'm about 2 weeks into my own isolation, I think. I'm trying not to count the days. Every day's a Sunday at the moment. From a personal point of view, I'm trying to stay in as much as possible, shopping once a week, just going to see to the horses when needed, nothing else. I'm not going out for the exercise. Look at me, I'm not a jogger. The things I want to do aren't allowed, which is shooting and metal detecting. So it's Netflix and YouTube for me. Other than that, I'm staying in, hitting social media, trying to get a polo shooting competition going on the Facebook group, Daystate Owners Target and Hunting Group. I'll try and put a little link up at the end for you if you're not already a member. There's a photo competition as well, with prizes from Daystate, Brocock and MTC, who I'd like to thank for their support during this competition. Myself and Tony Belas will be judging the photo entries. But other than that, the highlight of my day at the moment is cooking tea and loading the dishwasher. My shooting this year has been really limited. I only managed one brief session at Mendip Shooting Ground indoor range with a workmate, Darren, who really took to shooting my huntsman while I was on the pulsar. We had a really enjoyable couple of hours plinking up there. I've been very busy at work, unusual for me for the start of the year, but very gratefully received. But the weather was lousy. We had storm after storm, perfectly timed with my days off. In those winds I'd have been lucky to hit a barn door, as the saying goes. I know I'm turning into a bit of a fair weather shooter, but it's my age. I just don't like getting cold and wet anymore. With hindsight, I'd have probably gone out a little bit more if I'd known what was coming. The good news is, spring is here, the weather seems to be breaking and improving outside. The bad news is, we're stuck in lockdown. Feels like some sort of dystopian movie. I never thought I'd be living through anything like this, but here we all are. And we just need to do the right thing, stay safe, stay at home, and keep your socialising distant. So, what can we do to get some shooting in? The only real options are, for most people, are urgent pest control. If you're contacted by a farmer, that is still permitted, but that's not really going to apply to most of us. But those guys that do it, great, keep the work up, let us know what you're up to. So that leaves commercial ranges, which are closed. Nowhere should be open now because it's unnecessarily travelling and unnecessary socialising. So we've got home ranges, backyard plinking as it's known. Now, if you've got a long private garden, then I'm a bit jealous. Apart from the fact that if it was mine, it would be full of weeds and brambles and totally overgrown. I'm more of a jogger than I am of a gardener. So I guess the majority of us have a smallish back garden, 15 to 20 yards long. Not much of a challenge for a top-end air rifle really, but the secret to short ranges is aim small, miss small. Challenge yourself to small groups, tiny targets. The smaller the target, the more it will challenge you to be completely accurate. I like polos. This is the polo competition we've got on at the moment. Shooting through the hole without hitting the mint does make it much more challenging. Bench rest, where your centre target is only 2mm, that's pretty good shooting at 25 yards. Post-it notes, even with just a marker pen dot on it, they're pretty good. Print yourself out small targets, or if you fancy a bit of fun, on the group there are targets with flies on, that kind of thing, so just make it entertaining. I've got here a block of wood, 10 holes drilled in it. It's not very fancy, it's a bit beat up now, but you can see 10 match heads. They're about 2mm across as well, maybe 3. That's still pretty good shooting, and if you can do 10 of those in a row, good on you. that's the kind of thing pretty much anybody can make for a home range. So it's about challenging yourself. If you can get something set up, it could pass the time nicely and really improve your shooting, because if you can hit a 2mm target at 20 yards, then you're going to be pretty close when it comes to going back out, and you will be hitting things at 40 yards with no problem at all. If you're in the Facebook group, we'd love to hear from you, see some pictures of your home ranges, home targets, whatever you've done. Post your photos and tell us what shooting you're getting in. Unfortunately, my garden is overlooked by quite a lot of houses. I do shoot at home occasionally, but only when most people are at work. I try and avoid annoying the neighbours too much. Pellet capture and noise are important factors if you're going to shoot at home, and the reason why I'm not doing it at the moment anyway. If the lockdown continues, I'll look at some way to silence the impacts. It's not the guns that make the real noise. If they stay with a decent silencer on, shouldn't be getting on anyone's nerves really. I've got a Huggett of Steel on the 22 Pulsar here, and it's exceptionally quiet, but most mods will keep the noise of the action down enough for you. I know some of the shooting retailers are still operating online services so that pellets can be bought. The biggest problem is going to be air, I think. I'm about down to 180 bar in my tank, so I've got a few partial fills left in the tank, but when it's gone, and that's until the shops and ranges open again. There are some excellent compressors out there. I know some of you have been buying them recently, from Daystate and other manufacturers as well. There's quite a good range out there nowadays, and most are pretty good, but not an option for me. So once the air's out, that's it. I'm going to be packing all the rifles away. Quick thought on that: if you've laid up your electronic rifles, don't forget to put them on charge once in a while. Just keep the batteries conditioned. I've put my Airwolf on charge for now, and that's all fully charged up again now. What else can you do? I don't know, maybe this is a good time for a deep clean, get the action out of the stock and give it a good clean, change any seals, whatever you can do, get them polished, waxed, oiled, whatever finish you want. I know I've got cleaning to catch up on, so I might well do that too. I don't want this to sound like a moan, it isn't. I'm well, I'm planning on staying that way for now. I can get back to shooting when all this is over, or more back to normal, or whatever the new normal is. The most important thing to do at the moment is to cut the spread of this terrible virus, stay safe, look after yourselves, and shoot if you can. Cheers guys.